Hi everyone. I really hope that everyone who is listening to me in this moment are doing really well. My name is Albert from Colombia, 42 years old, and I've been studying English for many years, probably 7 or 8 years, all my entire life. Um, when you spend a long time learning English, you hope that your English are or being proficient, because you put effort, you put your time, and you really have to see result. And when you can't see, you feel frustrated, you feel discouraged because you feel that you are a failure, that you are not doing what it's supposed you have to do. There are lots of frustration, there are lots of fears, insecurities when you face interview, or when you meet people around the world, you know. And probably these kinds of things were the kinds of stuff that's happened me when I face in these kinds of situation. But I really think so that um, you know the way how I behaved in that situation was really good because I always try to keep my mindset focusing about the result, the final result. And that is important because when you frustrate because the thing that happened in your daily life, and most people wake up because they believe that they are not enough, that they are losing their time. But in my case, that was not the case. In my case, uh, I always wanted to continue working, continue learning more and more and more, despite my frustration. It's like, okay, I understand that learning English is not going to be easy. I knew it since the moment that I started. I started to learn English um, when the pandemic started, at that time, probably 7 or 8 years ago. Um, when I, when I was in the college, when I was a teenager, I tried to learn English as well. But when the pandemic started, was the time when I was determined to finally become a fluent speaker in English, and I think that the only thing that I changed my goal, because I remember when I was a teenager or when I was in the college, my goal was not to be fluent in English. My goal was to study English to get better in my English. But when you set your goal and you had clear what is your goal, I think it's better. So I set my goal. I said, okay, I want to be fluent in English. I want to be able to have conversation with people around the world, native speaker or non-native speaker, but being able to communicate with them. That was exactly my goal. I understood that. So I started to work on this. But I knew that becoming a fluent speaker in English um, was not to be easy. I knew that that it was going to be hard, because there are lots of information, there are lots of people that speak English, and they say that you know English is a journey. You have ups and downs, and it's necessary to get through a lot of difficulties, a lot of frustration, in order to you know finally become a fluent speaker in English. So nowadays I got fluency. I'm able to communicate with people around the world, but I don't feel really proficient in the language. Despite that influence, I would like to be better. I would like to be more proficient because there are many cases, and maybe I would like to talk about it, but this is not the moment, about how I feel when, for instance, I'm watching a movie and I'm not able to understand the word that they say, because native speakers speak a little bit faster than us. So it requires that I get better my understanding, my listening skill. That's the reason why I say that English is a journey. But the important thing right here is understand the way how you see English, the way how we can see English. I think that's the proper way how we can to see English is like it's a skill that we want to learn. When you have the fervent desire, which you really want to desire something, and despite that, um, there are lots of effort. I think that's because it's worthy. You are going to be aware to spend time. You're going to be aware to to put your best in order to you know to um, that's at the end you can to see the result. So that is um, that is what all the time I'm thinking. Okay, when I see frustration because I felt that my English was not enough, I always try to think about the result, and the end result was okay. Maybe in that moment I'm not fluent yet, but I know that at the end of 2 or 3 years later, I'm going to be able to be fluent and to be really proficient in the language. That is my goal. Nowadays, I try to speak to myself and say the same thing, because despite that I'm fluent, I really want to improve. There are lots of content, there are lots of words, there are lots of vocabulary that I would like to improve, because when you are no English native speaker and you make lots of mistakes in the way how you pronounce the word. That is exactly my case. I can I can pronounce certain words the proper way, because you know the phonetics of English language is completely different. That's the phonetics of Spanish language. So it's necessary to learn, it's necessary to repeat the sound over and over again and repeat them and speak at them and say them until that I feel comfortable, saying that word, that phrasal verb. All these kinds of things when you are speaking, when you meet someone and you realize that you are not able to speak proficient in the language, and you know, frustrate me and makes me that I feel comfortable. I always try to be efficient about the thing that I do. Um, you know, uh, when it's a study for something, I want to see results. If I do something, I want to see result, because it's the way how we can to feel that we are receiving something about our effort. But with English, it's not the case. You can spend a long time just studying English, just listening in English, watching tons of videos on YouTube or all these kinds of things. But the problem is that you feel frustrated because despite all that effort, all that time, sometimes you can't see the result, and that frustrate, that is disappointment, that discourage. And that's the reason why most people around the world who start to learn English quick up, quick up, because they feel that they're losing their time. I really understand that people. I really understand that people. My advice to them will be, okay, you fail learning English, but you can try again. Okay, I failed a lot of time when I was in the college, but when the pandemic started, I changed my mindset. It's I think that when you want to learn English the proper way, the first thing that you want to learn is that English is a journey. It's going to take you many times speaking English the proper way. So I think that the problem is what the expectations that we have about English learning language. We hope that we are able to speak in just 1 year or 2 years, because when you see English content about teachers speaking to you about the proper way how we can to teach, how we can to learn English, the most of the time the information that we receive is about the time that is going to take us to become fluent in language. And some teachers tell us that it's just 1 year or 2 years. So you really hope that at the end of these 2 years, you are able to communicate effectively with others. When you realize, when you face interviews or something like that, um, you frustrate because you you see the result. When you face interviews, and the interviewer, you know, um, they just want to hire people. They require that people who show in front of them have the fluency that they require. It's not just to be able to speak with others. It's necessary to have certain kinds of vocabulary, speaking as a particular way, pronounce the word the proper way, not every single word, but you need to be able to feel comfortable with others. You need to be able to pronounce the words the comfortable way. And they are looking for just one candidate or two candidates, and there are lots of people who shows in front of them, so they can't choose the better. That's the reason why they, you know, and despite that, um, you have the chance to be interviewed. The most of the time you feel frustrated because you are not going to person who is going to be hired for them. So that depends of the kinds of interview that you face, because there are other interviews that you will notice that it's easier, you know, but some interviewer are really rude, and some interviewer are really, they look like nice person, but they are looking for the better. So they need to choose the better, candidates. And that's why people frustrates in the interview or something like that. That happens to me when I went through the interview, my first interview. I remember my interviewer, and I was speaking, I was answering him. Suddenly he interrupted me and point out my mistakes. You know, I will say something, and he points my mistakes. Okay, obviously, now that I try to keep in mind, I try to recall, I realize, okay, that position of, um, in the interview that I chose, the job was to be hired for an English teacher. So if you want to be English teacher, you had a lot of knowledge of grammatical rules, obviously being able to speak the proper way, but you need to be grammatical correct when you're speaking. It's not the same thing to be hired to a position, maybe in a call center, like a call center agent that to be hired for English teacher. So depends on the job that you're looking for, depends on the challenges that you face, and is you know is the way how you need to be get prepared. You need to be and you need to be get ready for that moment, that particular moment. So I think that it's important to take challenge when you are learning language. It's important to be ready for that moment. The proper mindset to stay um to stay learning English or the proper way is having a mindset of the proper mindset. And the proper mindset is, okay, I know this um, becoming a professional language is going to take me time. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. When you have that kind of mindset, um, I think that you can face problem situation, but you have the knowledge, or you have the feelings that you are doing the things the proper way. So when I fail my English, in every single interview, I always say to myself, okay, no problem. I'm going to continue. Okay, I feel frustrated, but I knew that is exactly what it was going to happen. And I know where to accept that. I know where to keep going working and keep going working until I finally became fluent in English. Okay, that nowadays, guys, I'm trying to find a way how I can improve the way how I speak, because I really want. Right now I'm not looking forward to be fluent, because I already am. I am ready. Right now, what I'm looking is to be professional English. It's going to take me more time, but and then I'm sure that I will do it. Because I see English not like something that I have to do. I see English I see English as something that I enjoy it, that I'm learning, but at the same time I enjoy it. Yeah, I think that is the appropriate mindset that we must to have about English, when it comes to learn English the appropriate way. So guys, thanks so much to listen to me. That's my first video. I know this is not going to be the best video in the world, but I always try to do my best. I really hope that that video come to be useful for those who are in this journey, in this road. It's not easy, it's complicated, but it's completely possible to be fluent in the language. Thank you.